Hey guys, this is Kirk from Go Make Music, and today we're going to be diving deep into a snare creation, making it fat, making it big. Let's listen to it first, and then we'll talk about how we made it. All right, now without. All right, back on. All right, and then let's listen to the snare soloed. All right, cool. So how did we do that? Well, there's 4 basic steps, maybe 5, depending on how many steps there are. So first thing we do is find the key of the song. Now the key of this song is E minor. So I tune this snare to the key of E minor by playing the snare at the 1 being E. So it's just basically playing E over and over again to a slight degree. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, first you have to kind of listen to the snare originally. Originally, the snare was here. Yeah. Now you can hear, listen, okay, so you can see. That's cool, gives you a comparison. This one is still transposed down 1 semitone, and this is back to its original. So notice how this one's actually playing an F. If you had a piano or something, you could hum along and find that this is an F. Actually, tell you what, let me see if I can just pull this up and let you hear it. So that's really kind of, and this is EDM, rock, all kinds of stuff. You can tune the snare to the song. That's an F. Listen to that first snare. So that there's that resonance. Okay, now listen to the second snare. Okay. So if you really start to kind of tune your ears, you can start to notice the pitch of certain snares. Not all snares have as much pitch information as these, but these are the ones you kind of want to look for if you're doing this effect. All right, so once you've found the pitch of the original, then you can kind of use, semitones to go and transpose it. So F is 1 semitone above E, so I'm going to bring it down 1 semitone, all right? So now this snare is tuned to E, which would work in E minor. The next thing you want to do is stack an octave above. So you grab all the snares, duplicate it, and then basically use math. And these are going to be at -1 presently, and I want to go up an octave. So 12 semitones above -1 is positive 11. And it should sound something like this. Okay, now I've already done that on the track above, so I was just showing you how I did it. All right, there it is. Okay, so that's the first step. Find the key, tune the key using this regions or whatever. If you're in Ableton or Pro Tools, do it how they do it, and then stack it an octave above or an octave below, depending on what you're going for. Step 2 is applying EQ and boosting the fundamental frequency of that snare. So let's look at the low first. And I'm just going to open it, and I've got a big boost around 170, 13 dB. That's a whole lot, but we're going to kind of tame it here in a second. Let's listen. So I'm really boosting the tone of the snare, and I'm adding a little bit of sizzle with this high shelf. All right. And then you do the same thing with the high one. Okay, so the tone, and notice that the high one is higher. And then, okay, so that's step 2, is you boost the fundamental. So you tune the kick, tune the snare, boost the fundamental, and now we're gonna saturate the fundamental. Now you can do this with a compressor. I'm gonna do this with the decapitator because it's awesome, and that's why. And so you just solo it, drive it, and then you can mix it. That's why I like this. So this is all the way wet, basically, driven. So it kind of chokes it. So you pull it back to mix in the original. So you do the same thing with the low one. So that's all the way. Bit much. So if you don't have the decapitator, what do? Well, what I would do, I would just grab a compressor and use one of these settings and kind of do distortion hard, right? And then you can kind of do what you will to it. But then blend it using this mix knob. Okay. So you're kind of taking out some of the weight so it's not over the top, and adding a little bit of crunch and then blending it in. So I like the decapitator, but you can do this with a drive pedal. It's just, if you're going to do it on the channel, make sure you have something that has a mix knob. Okay, so that is step 3. So step 1 was tune it, step 2 was boost the fundamental, step 3 was saturate it, and then step 4 was adding reverb. And so what we got going on here. Now the trick with this reverb, I'm using Valhalla. You can use anything, but here's the trick. Look at the size of my pre-delay. My pre-delay is 86 milliseconds. This kind of gives you that exploding snare sound. Watch what happens if I bring it back down. See, that's the delay, so that's too much, obviously, but right around here is where I liked it. All right, so let's listen in the mix. All right, so there you go, 4 steps. First step is tune the snare. Second step is stack the octave, so it is 5 steps. Third step is boost the fundamental. Fourth step is using some kind of saturation to kind of tame it and rein in that giant boost you did, and then add some reverb to taste with a long pre-delay if you so desire. There you go. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions or if there are more things you want to learn about music making. And go check out gomakemusic.org for some free courses on mastering and foundations of EQ and music making in general. All right, until next time, go make music.